Once you've imported your Flash content into the Director Cast and set its properties, you'll use it in your movie by dragging it to the stage and positioning it where you want it. So I have a Flash file here, and I'm just going to drag it onto my stage here. It's going to use up 30 frames, which is the default for any new sprite. Now you can then use the Flash content sprite in much the same way that you would use other sprites. However, when working with Flash content on the stage, you'll want to keep the following points in mind. First, the Flash content animation plays only as long as the Flash content sprite is actually on the stage. It resembles other sprites in this way. So for example, notice that when I play this, my sprite containing the Flash stops here at frame 30, and then it goes back here to my outline. Second, because Flash content uses a vector graphics format, you can stretch the application's sprite without loss of clarity. You'll notice that if I take this sprite and really make it large like so, rewind my movie and then play it, it still is nice and crisp and clean there. Next, you can rotate, skew, scale, or flip Flash content just as you would for a vector shape or a bitmap. So I can take this, let's go ahead and make this smaller, my Flash sprite here, and then let's go ahead and rotate it. Sometimes this disrupts the playback here when I record for this tutorial, but it looks like it's working okay. I can also go here and double click, and let's go to the frame, add that script here, and that will keep the playback head right there in frame 24 so I can see this. But notice that it's rotated, that Flash content is rotated and looks okay and plays back fine. Next, let's go down here and so you can read that. Now if the Flash content is set to play direct to stage, it always appears on top of other sprites regardless of the channel in which it is placed. Also, ink effects are ignored. So for example, if I go back here and let's go ahead and add a nice large black rectangle over the top of this sprite content. Notice that even though this new black rectangle is in a higher channel than my Flash content, the Flash floats right on top of it because it's direct to stage. However, if I open up my property inspector, click on my Flash file, go to the Flash tab here. Let's go ahead and move this out of the way. I click on the Flash and click on my Flash tab, turn off the DTS setting. Notice now my rectangular sprite covers my Flash content. The Flash no longer hovers on top of everything else on the stage. Now if you do remove the DTS setting in the Flash tab for that Flash sprite, only the copy, background transparent, and blend inks will work with the Flash content. Notice if I go back here to the Sprite tab and I change my ink from copy to background transparent, my Flash content composites very nicely against that gray stage. Also, the blend ink will work. Everything else, you'll notice, acts the same as just the copy ink, which gives you that white background there against the gray stage. And lastly, the blend and color settings are supported for Flash sprites just as they are for vector shapes. Let me now move on to the next movie and go over in more detail how to edit a Flash cast member. You'll do this basically by double-clicking on the cast member, either in the cast window or the sprite on the stage, and that will notice open up Flash, where you can then go ahead and proceed to edit here in Flash, and then those edits will be updated back in Director. So without further ado, let me move on to the next movie and go over this technique in more detail.